Hi everyone, so welcome to Single Value. So today I want to talk about another EV stock coming through, and this is going through another SPAC kind of deal, and this one is a UK electric vehicle group called Arrival. So it's listing through the US even though it's UK, and it's going through the SPACs because like all of a sudden SPACs are becoming big and a lot of companies are just really embracing this. So this is Arrival is backed by Hyundai, and they are looking to merge and have an ultimate valuation of about 5.4 billion. And this company promises a lot. Like, there's a lot of things that are impressive about EV companies, but this one just takes it to another level. And we'll go into those details right after this. So you're probably wondering what SPAC is this one merging with. So this one is merging with CIIG Merger Group. Corp, and the share price is going ballistics. Like, it's just a really recent deal that's been inked, so hence why once a deal got through, it's gone up, it's going up so much on today's market, and even more on the even further more on the after hours. So yeah, like we're talking about a stock that traded around $10. Went up to 13.36 recently, and in the aftermarket it's going up another 17% to 15.70. So you must be looking at this and going, yeah, investors love this stock, something must be up. Like, it's not even a cheap valuation either. Like, we're looking at a 5.4 billion valuation on this $10 mark. So when we incorporate, say, like this after hour pricing, that's like another 50%. We're talking about a company that's 8 billion right now. So in terms of 8 billion, we're in the zone of, say, like Nikola or something like that. So obviously there's going to be a lot that's been promised, because the only company that's really promised so much to the market and given them not as much as Nikola. But this one looks like it's promising a lot and also giving a lot. So I think that's going to be the change. So they've got an investor presentation on their website. So just go to Arrival Group and the investor link, and you'll see this presentation. So so they inked the deal on November the 18th, and that's with CIIG. They are meant to like merge together around Q1 of next year. And it's going to list on the Nasdaq, even though it's a UK company. But they are going to have some US operations, so maybe they see that as more relevant. And also there's a ton of EV companies in the States that investors in the States are like to understand it in a much more better way. As they expect the enterprise valuation of 5.39 billion, and this would be 0.4 times of what they expect in 2024. They expect to do 14.1 billion revenue, which is kind of insane. Like, you don't really expect the company doing no revenue to doing 14 billion in revenue. So we're kind of getting these real big ballpark figures. And the big question is, are these guys able to back it up? Are these just false promises? Are these just like random reserve orders? They're not actually as random as we kind of expect them to be, particularly at a value of like 14 billion. Alright, so if we go through the rest of the presentation, it just reveals some more really good details. So like, they have 4 vehicle designs expected in the market by 2023. Though they expect their first one to be released in Q4 of next year, and they have 1.2 billion in orders, which is about 10,000 of their vehicles from UPS. So UPS has done their due diligence. They like the vehicle, and by next year they hope to start ordering, getting some of their vehicles from the 10,000 order. So here's more details on this. There's an order worth 1.2 billion for 10,000 units, plus an option to buy another 10,000. So that's a massive boost for the company, that a UPS has done due diligence. They want 10,000 and they potentially want another 10,000. Like, I mean, you wouldn't really do an option unless you thought you really had a bit of confidence, you do 10,000 as a trial, and then you just get another 10,000 because you think it's potentially going to work really well, especially for a company like UPS. And also the price point is really good. Like, we're looking at about $12,000 a vehicle, which is surprisingly cheap. But again, these are last mile vehicles. They're not like your traditional type vehicles that go. They're made for, they aren't made for really long range. They're made for short kind of like distance. So it looks like a great deal on this side. And then you've got 100 million investment from Hyundai and Kia Motors, which is basically Hyundai Group anyway, so same company. But yeah, I guess it just looks nicer when you have the two brands put together. But again, that's also your due diligence by a large company that's willing to give them money, so it's another boost of confidence. So out of the vehicles, there's 4 vehicles. There's an electric bus, which is going to be the one released next year, and it's got a range of 240 to 400 kilometers. Again, I guess it just depends on the battery sizing pack that you choose when you buy this. And then they've got an electric van, which can go 150 to 340 kilometers, and that's going to be released in 2022. And also a large electric van in the same year as well. And then they're going to start small vehicle, production in 2023. So I really like this pipeline, because especially starting with a bus where no one's competing with you to build buses. Like, the only company that I can really think about that really builds buses in an EV style in large volume is BYD, which is a Chinese company. Apart from that, like, there's not really any other major one that I can think of. So do let me know if you know any major ones, because I see this company as already having an advantage, that the fact that they're starting with something more of a niche, where no one else is targeting, and that's a great way to build your business. And then they do have the electric vans. Most of you are probably familiar with Workhorse, and also you've got Rivian as well. So there's a bit of competition there, but the fact that UPS wants 10,000 of these is already a great sign that this is potentially a great product. It definitely looks a lot better than what Workhorse is putting out anyway. And these guys are wanting to sell in the UK and the US, whereas Workhorse is selling in the US, Rivian is selling in the US. And I think Rivian has their supply already wrapped up by Amazon, so I don't think they have any spare production to really sell to anyone else. So it's again an opportunity for this company to do really well. And then addressable market is one thing. It is a large addressable market, though. Again, most of these companies are really constrained by how much they can produce, and the biggest question is always, when will these companies start producing, because they usually take a long time to ramp up. So here, they look at this is a pretty nice well-built van out of like a lot of EVs. I think they're doing one thing right by getting the design right. So they reckon an annual addressable market for these type of vans can be up to 2 million, and so far they've gotten a 10,000 vehicle order. And yes, they've got a 5k vehicle in late stage sales discussions. So again, the companies they're talking to are for large orders, hence why it doesn't really take that many orders for this company to really build up in sales, hence why they kind of expect like 14 billion in sales for those 4 vehicle sales put together. And yeah, they've done some comparisons against the different vehicles are out right now, and they think they have the best offering. And that's one thing about EVs, they just have such a huge advantage when it comes to costs, efficiency to run them, and also performance wise, it's just another situation, right? So like EVs, if you're not investing in EV companies, you're probably missing out on a lot of easy money right now, because like these companies are coming on, they come on in kind of like fairly lower valuations than a lot of companies these days, and the minute they start to perform, they really go up, and it's just really straightforward in a sense that why, the risk isn't as bad as most people would probably see it. Like, these are relatively simple vehicles to build, but you just have to put the production facility, you have to find the capital. Of course, those aren't exactly like easy itself, but in comparison to a lot of other different type of ventures, these ones are, they're not as complicated, and it just takes really good executing to get there. So again, with these buses, like, the addressable market could be about 131,000 when it gets to 2025. So this again, if this company executes well, it has a huge opportunity ahead of it. And again, they've compared their buses to other kind of vehicles in their range, which is like, this is the proof of, how good this company is when it's making these comparisons. Also, it does autonomous driving as well. It's definitely working on that tech as well. So there's a lot to be impressed with around this company. It's literally like the reverse of Tesla. It's got all the makings of something that Tesla would be, except it's doing every vehicle that Tesla's not doing. So I find it to be a huge advantage for this company. And you can kind of see this timeline. They expect this bus in late 2021, these two vans in about third quarter for 2022, and there's a small vehicle in 2023. So I feel like this small vehicle has to be an extremely good one, because by the time it gets to market, there's going to be so many competitors. So I think they have a huge advantage with these three vehicles. Though the small one, I'd have to see the numbers, but they do promise that they have a new design and production method that is going to really just revolutionize cost and efficiencies. They do have a slide like somewhere, like this is what their factories will look like. Apparently they're much smaller than the average factory, which they do have a slide making comparisons about their factories. So here we go. So Arrival's microfactory, as they like to call it, can produce 10,000 vans with 2 shifts, and are about 20 square meters. And yeah, like their capital cost is 44 million. So 44 million isn't like a huge cost to build a factory, right? And here they've made a comparison where the usual way of building vehicles by large manufacturers is by building the largest factory they can imagine and just producing as much as possible. So here we've got a Volkswagen factory that was built in Poland, and it targets around 100,000 vans a year, and it took about 950 million to build, with a 240 million operating costs, where we're looking at this having 44 million to build and 12 million to run. So it wouldn't take much to really break even for this factory. Especially, you imagine their vans they have a cost of $12,000. So at operating costs, it wouldn't really take much to start covering those operating costs and be a very profitable company going forward, assuming they can actually get to these numbers, of course. The one thing is promising these numbers, the other is getting there. And they hope to probably build 10 of these factories to get to 100,000 vans. And the amazing thing is it takes 6 months to open a factory, whereas these large factories can take up to 3 years. So yeah, I'm incredibly impressed with these numbers. So hence why I think the market looks at this company and goes, wow, you got to own this company or you're missing out, because there's something really compelling about this company, that it's much better than Workhorse. It's definitely at least on par with like a company like Rivian that has the backing of Amazon. And yeah, like a lot of things impress of this presentation, that the way they're doing things is quite new, and approaching everything in such a way that they're getting there with speed, with low costs and huge intensity. So there's a lot to like about this company, and also yeah, as they put the advantages is quicker time to market, which is definitely for sure. If you look how quick they're building their factories, 18 months to 3+ years, upgradability through the life cycle of the vehicle. So it's lovely that this company builds their vehicles with the idea that you can actually continue to update them. 20% overall cost reduction in supplier margins, designed for automated microfactory assembly. So already this company is sounding like Tesla. It does things quicker, it does things by automation, it uses machines, it's thinking about the future, it's high tech. So yeah, like I definitely quite like this company. The valuation is getting a little higher, of course, but again, 8 billion for this company isn't too bad. Like it's not too bad for that huge amount of potential, and especially looking at this presentation, like there's a lot to like about this company. They're really like just like really showing that they're unique in a sense, and that they can just hit it out of the park if given the opportunity. Like they are looking at, like they're not just trying to create a vehicle, they're trying to create the best vehicle in a sense for their price range and with efficient factories. So it's kind of like Tesla aims for this high luxury market, whereas and for consumers, right? Whereas this company aims for a business type market, and it also tries to innovate around that. So as it's put here, Arrival's composite body panel is like this, and the generic steel body panel is like this. So and this is what happens on a low speed impact test of 10 miles per hour. So you know, like they're already that's innovation, that they're creating something that can withhold impact much better. So like I don't really even see a dent on this, where there's a huge dent on that. So I really like where this company's going. And then again, they've also got their digital part, where in the future when buses are going to be automated, and then you just have to just look at your app, and then bus comes and picks you up. So I love how innovative this company is. Like it's got 5,000 plus software engineers, so it's definitely thinking about not just the hardware use but also the software use. And yeah, the potential really looks amazing with this company. Yeah, like what else is there to say about it? It's really thinking ahead of everyone else. The numbers definitely work out for sure. Of course they do have to actually produce, of course. So here's some statistics, like supported by a 1.2 billion order, notable commercial and strategic partnerships, significant interest in the bus sectors. Yeah, again, they're heading into a very unique sector. So here, like we've got a revenue projection of $1 billion by 2022, 5 billion by 2023, and 14 billion by 2024, which is a really massive selling point here. Like, how does this company expect to do 14 billion by 2024? Like, there's a lot of confidence in themselves, that's for sure. Yeah, so out of this, like out of this revenue here, they expect buses to be 22%, they expect vans to be 49%, and they expect the large van to be 17%. So you can kind of see that where they're getting these numbers from, and since they're in a way unique in the markets that they're approaching, that there's not that many competitors, and I think they're moving to market quicker than everyone else, and they're able to get large contracts, and I think they can actually get to this 14 billion, which will be pretty impressive if they're able to get anywhere near that 14 billion, because there's not a lot of companies doing 14 billion in sales, especially not EV sales anyway. Like the only one really right now on a US market is just Tesla. So the fact that they have such big aspirations, this one will be pretty incredible. Like if they're able to get there, this company is at a valuation of 8 billion right now on this aftermarket pricing. And yeah, like if say like in next 4 years, yeah, it would not be out of the impossibility that this company could be worth well over 100 billion. But of course, they have a lot to execute on, though, there's a good path and a good chance that they can actually get there. Yeah, like let me know what your thoughts are. Like they've done these comparisons. Like this is not some company that's coming in with a little bit of delusion. They've got like a much bigger workforce than a lot of the ones that are already listed right now, 1,200. Whereas, yeah, you have Canoe at 300, Fisker at 50, Hyliion at 60, Lordstown, which I really like, is at 70, Nikola is at 250, and Workhorse is at 115. So you can already see they've already got the workforce going at this, and yeah, they're ready to go. Unlike quite a few of these that aren't getting into production too soon, whereas these guys are getting into production very, very soon. So I quite like Arrival. Pretty similar with Lordstown. Arrival is showing themselves to be a very interesting company that I'm definitely looking at getting a shareholding in. Like I've just literally discovered this company and I haven't even got a shareholding in it, so I hope the share price doesn't go up too quick. But I definitely there's a lot I like about this company. It's backed by a lot of companies, and it's going after a real big international market. It's going after the UK, US, Germany, Netherlands, Israel, and Russia, whereas all these other companies are mainly US. You do have Nikola that says they're going after Europe if they ever get a vehicle out, and also Fisker, which will be in 2022 when they'll have their vehicle, but they'll also go after Europe. Yeah, so there's this here. They've got multiple vehicles. I love a company that's already thought about the future. It's already got that pipeline in. There's not many companies that actually have this pipeline in, and like the ones that do, it just shows incredible amount of planning for the future. Like the only one that has quite a few vehicles in the planning stages is Tesla, and look how well they've done. I think this is going to be one of the big hitters as well. So yeah, I think definitely let me know what your thoughts are. Like there's a lot, like I was really impressed with the last few slides, how they create these components. So this is a very, very innovative company, doing a lot of great work. And in a way it really reminds me of Tesla back in its day, like where I think there's a story of an employee going to Elon Musk to make the part that they need for the I think it was like one of the rockets for SpaceX. It cost $100,000 and he gave them $5,000 and he said, do it with $5,000. And this kind of reminds me of this whole situation of like, these guys aren't thinking about buying all their parts. They actually want to innovate and they actually want to build their own parts. So that's what kind of like amazes me about this company. Yeah, so if you have any questions, definitely let me know, or if you any other comments, I'm always interested to hear those. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.